This is the truth about Bogota. It is cold, it is rainy, it is super congested. There's so much traffic and so much pollution. You're not gonna even be able to breathe well here. And it's super dangerous. Like if you come to visit or even just live here, you're likely going to get robbed. This is the crap that we hear people say about Bogota all the time, and they've only spent like 1, 2, 3 days here, maybe a week. So let me tell you the truth about Bogota.
Johnny is right. I am from Bogota. I lived here for 24 years before I moved to the United States. And it took me about 6 years of marriage to convince him to come live here with me and with my family and experience the vibrancy of this city because I missed it so much. So let me tell you the truth about Bogota.
And real talk, it is true. Yes, it took about 6 years of convincing me to move to Bogota, Colombia. And before that time, and before the time of spending like 2 years here in this beautiful city, I used to be a Bogota hater. But that is not the case anymore. It used to be that way because we'd come visit and be with family constantly, and I never really got to experience the things the city actually has. And that's what we really want to show you.
Let's start with the top 2 complaints that you see across the internet about Bogota. Starting with
weather. People complain about how cold it is in Bogota, but that could be far from the truth. The average high year-round is about 68, 70 degrees. The average low is about 50 degrees Fahrenheit. That is like fall weather. This is not 30 or 40 degree weather or below zero that you would experience in the north. So if you're a gringo coming here to visit or live, I mean, this weather is great. It's like autumn weather. Think about it like, it feels like the day after that first cold front where the wind stops and it's nice and chilly outside at night, but in the daytime, the sun comes out like it is right now and gets up into the mid 70s, but then drops back down at night. I mean, literally right now, as we are recording this, it's about 73 degrees with a cool breeze. I think this is absolutely perfect weather.
disclaimer, because of the type of housing that we build here, all out of concrete with no insulation, apartments can get pretty cold if they don't get any direct sunlight. So I have a tip for you. If you're planning on visiting or staying for a while in Bogota, try to get an apartment that's either facing east or west to get that direct sunlight, and you are gonna get a nice, comfortable temperature in your apartment.
The second major complaint you're going to see on the internet is that the traffic is horrendous in Bogota, and I'll give that to anybody. It is true. In Colombia, Bogota has the worst traffic. But think about it. This is the capital city, a very large city. We're talking about in the bounds of Bogota, there are like 7 million people just scrunched up in here. And then if you count like the little towns and cities that connect to it in the metropolitan area, it's like 10 million people. That is a lot of people, and they don't have the infrastructure like you have in like Gringoland, like the United States, where they have these huge highways and stuff. That just does not exist. So things are very crowded here all the time. It could take you an hour or hour and a half to get from the south to the north or even east to west. And we have experienced that multiple times.
Disclaimer, Saturdays is one of the days with the most busy traffic in Bogota. During the hours of 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., you will experience the worst traffic ever. So if you can avoid traveling on that day during those hours, you will be doing yourself a favor. In fact, Johnny and I try not to do much on a Saturday, or if we plan on doing something that's far away from where we live, we plan on getting there early to avoid traffic. And we know that on our way back, we're just going to suffer through all of the traffic. And that's just the way it is.
Weather and traffic. Those are the 2 major complaints you hear about Bogota all the time. But are you gonna let some cooler autumn weather and a bunch of traffic, yes, stop you from experiencing a beautiful city? Here are some things that you can experience inside the city of Bogota. The first one is Manzarate Hill. There's a church on the top. It is easily accessible if you want to do just the cable cart to get up there. When you get up there, you're gonna have amazing views of the city that are gonna be completely memorable and impressed into your mind. There's also a trail you can take that would take you anywhere from, depending on your fitness level, 45 minutes to an hour and a half to get up to the top. I highly suggest doing that because you're really gonna feel the elevation and you're gonna feel an activity that people do on a frequent basis here in Bogota.
La Candelaria, which is our historical district. You can find a bunch of colonial architecture mixed with modern architecture and a whole lot of stuff to do. You can walk to Plaza Bolivar and feed the pigeons. You can walk up and down all of the streets and find different restaurants, museums, stores, and just so much vibrancy within the city. It is one of our most touristy areas, and it's for a good reason. There is a lot of stuff to do. Lots of museums like Casa Botero, Casa de la Moneda, Museo de Bogota, and there are a lot of other museums that we haven't even had the time to go to.
The food scene in Bogota is the best in the entire nation. There are cuisines from all across the world here, and I love that. I love the mixture of international cuisine, and Bogota is the best. It's not just international cuisine, but they have a couple restaurants that will showcase some of the best dishes of Colombia. And those are going to be La Perseverancia, where you can find a ton of different restaurants, specifically La Esquina de Mere, which has the Pacific coastal food, such as Rampe Calzón. It is absolutely delicious. There's also Origen Bistro, which showcases some of the more local dishes like trucha that you're going to find just across the region. If you want authentic Colombian food, I suggest those two restaurants. Now, if you want to go try something totally experimental, go to Humo Negro. We actually recently went there for our anniversary, and we had like a 9-course meal and tried some of the most delicious and innovative dishes we have ever seen on this planet Earth. Bogota is awesome when it comes to the food scene. And you're gonna find restaurants scattered throughout the neighborhoods of Champiñero, Quinta Camacho, Parque 93, Santa Barbara, Calle 140 or Cedritos area. And those areas are just vibrant and very safe neighborhoods that I think any foreigner who comes to visit or live in Bogota is going to really enjoy.
The Cerros Orientales, those mountains back there that go from north to south in the city. They're one of my favorite attractions in Bogota. You can do quite a few hikes that are safe, some challenging, but you will get some of the most amazing views of the city. I think my favorite part is stepping in Bogota, one of the most dense cities in the world, and going up in those hikes and being completely surrounded by nature.
Ciclo Via, which kind of means like cycle way or cycle road or street or something like that. But Ciclo Via happens on Sunday mornings where they block off several streets in Bogota. And we actually looked it up. It's about 80 miles of streets that they block off for people to ride their bicycles, for people to ride their skateboards, to do rollerblading, to do running, to just do walking. And it just brings everybody out. You just see people walking and doing all this recreational activity, and it's so neat to experience on every Sunday. And some of the major holidays, national holidays, they have Ciclo Via as well, and they block off all these streets. It's something so unique culturally, and Bogota does it the best. Out of all of the major cities in Colombia that do participate in it, Bogota has the most roads blocked off, and there are the most people outside just enjoying the outdoors.
Festivals. There are all kinds of festivals in Bogota. I don't even know all of them. But we've been to Barbecue Festival, one of Johnny's favorite, where he spent almost $120 in barbecue for the entire family. Rock at the Park, which is one of the largest Latin American festivals with 3 days of music, and all of them are free.
Child-friendly activities that are even fun for adults. I'm talking about Multiparque in Eden. Okay, Multiparque, it sounds like what it is. It's a multiple park. It has like inflatables, it has go-karts, it has an arcade, it has like this thing called a nube where you jump around on it. It's just a ton of fun. And when the sun is out like this, it's the perfect day to go. If you want to go indoors, they have this thing called Cyber Arena in the mall Eden, where it's like you hit these lights and you have to like get the highest amount of points, and they give you like 20 minutes and you just go crazy hitting all this stuff. I mean, there are a bunch of little small activities like that within malls and around Bogota that just make this such an approachable city to live in.
And honestly, those are just a few things that are going on inside Bogota. I know we're missing a whole lot, but if that was not enough, let's talk about the things that are going on outside Bogota, surrounding Bogota.
La Chorrera, it is just an hour east of Bogota. It takes probably hour and a half to get there, but they have one of the largest waterfalls that exist in South America. And we have not been in the rainy season, but I've heard it is spectacular in the rainy season. But even if you go in the dry season, it's beautiful. You get amazing views, just surrounded by the beautiful greenery that makes up this country's geography.
Hot springs, or thermales in Spanish. I'm from Bogota and I didn't even know we have thermales on our outside of the city. Just drive north and you will find some of the most amazing hot springs to relax and enjoy.
Guatavita, or the town of Guatavita, and the lake Guatavita, or ¿cómo se dice?
Embalse de
Embalse.
Guatavita.
And also Laguna Guatavita. So Guatavita is a town that is really beautifully preserved and just right next to the lake, and it gives you these amazing views, and it's just a cute little town to go visit right outside of Bogota by about an hour. If you want to do some lake activities, we recently went and did a sailboat ride. We also noticed that people were doing paddle boarding and also some jet skiing, wakeboarding. So there's a bunch of water activities you can do just nearby, and then you can go visit the sacred lake Laguna Guatavita.
The Salt Cathedral in Zipaquirá, one of the most common touristy attractions, and for a good reason. When you go, you can easily spend from 4 to 6 hours just walking around this massive compound, which is only 5% of what the big mine really is. And if you're not too shy and if you want to experience one of the best things in the mine, do the kids miner experience. You're going to walk around in the dark for a few minutes and get to like, what's that called?
Pickaxe the salt.
Yes, it is one of the best experiences that we have done in Zipaquirá. Also, Zipaquirá is not the only salt mine in the area. Nemocon, it's another one, and it's slightly different, so it is worth visiting both just to see the differences.
Chingaza and Chicaque, and honestly, a bunch of other nature activities. Chingaza, it is directly east, the whole huge national park region of Bogota, and there it's a little bit higher elevation in the mountains, and you're going to see a ton of frailejones. You can also go see the Lagunas Negras, which are just these famous like 3 lakes right next to each other, and it's absolutely beautiful. We've only gone once. It takes a little bit more time commitment to get out there because you get on these like dirt roads, but amazing. Chicaque, which is south of the city and just outside of the city by about an hour, and they have a nice busing route to get there. You can just show up, do this hike, get to a beautiful park, totally away from the city, surrounded by nature. They also have a restaurant there, so you're gonna be able to be fed, and you can go camping or just spend the day there. A beautiful national park where you see like the cliff of the rock, and I mean, we love getting out in nature. We need our nature dose. And those are just two of the activities just right outside of the city you can easily get to.
Suezca, one of my favorite places outside of Bogota. It's famous because you can go do outdoor rock climbing. You can go channel your inner Alex Honnold, your inner Emily Harrington. If you know who I'm talking about, you are my kind of people.
Muy bien, Whitney!
Whitney!
Oh my God!
This is the truth about Bogota. All these things you can experience inside and outside of the city. Are you going to really let some cooler weather and some very dense traffic, yes, stop you from experiencing Bogota? Seriously, y'all? Okay, yes, the weather can at times be very cold, especially during the rainy seasons, which are typically from March to May and September to November. But the other months are quite like what I'm showing you here right now in this shot. The traffic, it can be horrendous. Again, this is the biggest city in Colombia. You're gonna experience it, but that's kind of part of the experience as well. But don't let it stop you. Safety. Just like any major city across the entire globe, you need to be careful. Petty theft is a real thing here, specifically in that, like, motorcyclists, if they see your phone out freely in your hand, they just snatch it out of your hand and just keep going. Same for purses and other items. So you want to make sure those are stored securely on your person somehow or not visible, because that's the most common type of theft. There are parts of the city that are more dangerous, such as the South, which, you know, I don't really advise anybody to go to if you're not familiar with Bogota or know people. However, you know, there's parts of Bogota that are super safe and you can freely roam about and you're gonna feel great. I mean, again, seriously, are you gonna let some cooler weather and some traffic stop you from visiting Bogota? So internet, stop being so silly about this. This is the truth about Bogota.